We're gonna play with your best friend 7:30, Reject.
As well as the officers that stood around. Yeah, why the fuck you call them cops?
Oh! Ah, shit.
Ah, shit.
Oh, what? Oh, nice. We're about to wreck all of them then. Yep, the George St. Pierre. Yeah, you guys are. Well, I tell you what. All right, hold on. I'll do that. That way we don't have to be messing around the next round, right? Hold on. What am I doing? Redeploy. Ah, shit. All right, I made it. Harry squad, Harry squad. Because it put you on. It put you to me. Oh, you know what, Rez? It's if you. Well, who do you join on, Rez? Me? That's what happened the other day. That happened. That happened to us the other day. It just switched us all over the place because we were switching on our own, but it had recognized that we had switched on a person who was on the other team at the time, and ah, shit. See now, yep, I told you that's what it's gonna do. Yeah, switch back. You guys ought to be able to get in because we got spots on this. Oh my god. See, it's doing exactly what I said it did to us the other day. Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got us going every which way, see? All right, well, he said, it's I'm Arject. Uh-oh.
We have lost objective Edward.
Nortis? Brother Nortis? No, he's been running around in the tank. Oh.
We are losing.
Oh, the Defy clan? Yeah. I think that's why. My guess is that that night. Yeah, my guess is that 730 probably made friends with some of them and because they roll together all the time, GSP and Defy. So he must have made friends and followed them in because he knew that he could count on them. Yeah. Ah, shit.
Ah, shit.
All right, boys, this round, victory will be ours. Oh my God, what a shitty selection. Get Giant Shadow. At least, yeah, Giant Shadow at least will provide a halfway decent experience. No. In the vote already, in the vote already, in the vote. Yes, thank you. Oh, man. No, my daughter went with her grandparents to Florida, and they're at Manny's house right now in Florida. Mm-hmm. It's always it. Right. He's like, what the shit? You're with us.
British.
Oh, damn it. They're leaving? Ah. No, man. Oh, man.
Yeah, let's switch. Let's switch. Yeah, we.
Well, it's not the first time. It wouldn't surprise me. Hey, reject. Redeploy, switch, or you're gonna get stuck over there. Alright. No problem. Damn it. They ran. I'm not surprised. They're like, well, we're not gonna win another round with them in here. Let's go find something else. Well, 730 wouldn't run. I know that much. I know how he is, but he wouldn't run. But I have seen the other guys run for sure. Oh, he would. Oh, 550 does it all the time. We always make him run. Nordis, we make him run all the time. All those guys run. He's alright. Yeah, he's a cool dude. Yeah, Nortis is cool. Yeah, Nortis is cool. But yeah, the only ones that don't run out of their core group, well, outside of you, of course, is 730 and 55. Reject, what are you still doing on that side?
Yeah, we got 32.
That's because you didn't redeploy. You wanted to stay in your plane, which is why you have no deaths. Don't try to fool me. I know what it was. Yeah, you were. You were in the plane, and I told you to redeploy. Come on, man. Don't try to insult my intelligence, bro. I saw you. You were already a pilot, and I told you redeploy. Die.
Oh, got another heavy tank to your left, Texas.
Let me see. Let me see.
Hier, erste
Oh
Hilfe.
shit.
Hier, Mann, erste Hilfe.
Echo, I guess is what. Oh! Freaking shotgun guy.
We are losing objective Duff.
They have a lot of yeah, GSP has a lot of tank folks. They run with the tank a lot. There we go, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Erste Hilfe, greif zu! Lass mich deine Wunden versorgen! Ich krieg dich wieder hin!
What are you trying to do? Leave and rejoin the game? That's the best way to do it. Ice Cube. Has anybody been watching that Big Three?
We have taken objective.
I watched like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is some really shitty basketball. No, it's a league that he did. Retired player. Yeah, I read the other day that Allen Iverson has played a grand total of 8 minutes the whole season. Yeah, he's the coach. Oh, damn it. He got me. He needs the money, which is why he's doing it. Well, the only reason why, like, he has been able to stay afloat is because his contract with Reebok, whoever it was, they did a really good job with. Yeah, he gets $200,000 a year. Yeah, he gets $200,000 a year for life. Yep. Because you remember, he signed this contract in the late '90s. He signed that contract in the '90s, right? And Reebok wasn't anything. No kids were wearing Reeboks at that time, so they probably felt like they had to like really do something big to get him. And so, Allen Iverson. If it wasn't for that, he'd be broke because he lost everything. I tell you who else got a similar deal because of who he signed with is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the only player in the NBA that owns stock in the company. He owns stock in Under Armour. That was. Oh man, right? No kidding. Oh, he lost everything. Yeah, he lost everything. I just don't understand, like, I know that you want to live extravagantly, and I know it's got to be enticing when you grew up poor to, like, have millions upon millions, but where's your common sense of like, do I really need 14 cars? You know what I mean? Right, like you wanna get you a $500,000 Bentley, okay, fine, but you can't have 14 of them.
Soll ich dich wieder
Like, you gotta have a common sense. It's all about the whole showing off thing, right? It's just a lifestyle of like just showing off what you have, being able to brag about the materialistic things you own. Yeah, it happens all the time. Yeah. They know nothing, bro. And I know it's easier said than done. I'm sure if like $10 million fell out of the sky, we'd all be tempted to go get nice stuff. But I think but if you're smart, the first thing I'm doing is right, you're gonna get an account. Exactly. Right. I would totally get somebody to do my taxes. Listen, there's sometimes. Right, make your money work for itself.
We have lost objective Freddy.
Ist da noch Platz?
You mean the city in Florida?
We have taken objective Duff.
Panzer gesichtet, aufpassen! Sanitäter gesichtet! Soll ich deine Wunden
Investing
versorgen?
is one of the hardest things to do, and that's what leads to so many people being broke that have money.
Der Sanitäter da!
Because they feel like, okay, yeah, because yeah, it's hard to know what's going to be successful and what's not. Without wasting it in investments, but it seems like so many people choose investing as the best form, right?
Erste Hilfe, greif zu,
Like,
Mann!
I want to just make sure my money keeps making money, and everybody turns to investments, and so many of those flop. Yes, right, exactly. Some of that is not as hard as they make it too, right? They make it harder than it needs to be in some instances.
Für dich, Kamerad! Erste Hilfe! Verletzt! Ich flick dich zusammen. Zieh mir die Wunde mal an.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? If it were me, let's say, let's talk a simple amount, right? The kind that would change your life, but not enough for you to just swim in money forever.
An enemy armored
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 5 million, right? With 5 million, dude, I'd buy me a house. I'd pay off all my debt, take care of my parents, all that basic stuff. And then the rest of it, I wouldn't be looking for other stuff to buy. I'd just be like, all right,
Auf die Beine.
you know, maybe draw up some legal papers with a lawyer and say, hey, look, this money that I'm going to put in this account, I'm going to sign a paper now that says I can't touch it for like 10 years or something. Like, protect yourself from yourself. Know what I mean? But I mean, the thing is, it's simple money management. I know it's harder because it's millions, right? But we all know how to budget like we do today. And if you've got 5 million, you have no business spending 20% of that on a house. Why would you buy $1 million house with $5 million? Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can have nice things without being extravagant and stupid. To me, it's no different than the way you manage your income now, right? You know what you can spend and what you can't spend. And so I'm sure that the difference is you have the temptation because at the time that you have the money, there are no restrictions. There's nothing that you can't buy. But you got to be smart, man.
We have taken objective Freddy.
The thing that gets me is that you have people that dream of living in a certain way, and then they get this money, and all of a sudden that's not good enough anymore. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Ich helfe dir.
you know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's like, why all of a sudden now is that not good enough? Why do you have to have something even better than that? You know what I mean? Like, it used to drive by that, you know, 3,000 square foot home all the time wishing it was yours. Well, now you got $20 million and now you want a 10,000 square foot home? You know what I mean? It's, people change, right? That's the problem. You keep wanting more and more. Right, it's you.
All objectives.
For me, what I would spend my money on initially would not be the problem. I know I'd have self-control and be smart enough to buy things that were within the means of what I had won or gained or whatever. But what I would do is try to protect myself from the future, from like the temptation of.
This is Sparta.
Hier, erste Hilfe.
Right. Right. A lot of them don't.
Hier, erste Hilfe.
Yep, exactly. It's not important. It's not important.
Soll ich deine Wunden versorgen?
Right. Right, exactly. It's like they go, like, a lot of them will go, they have an idea, they want to get something nice, right? And they'll go to, like, the store and say, man, you know what? I want to buy me some, I've always wanted to buy me this brand of dress shoes. I'm going to go get them. And then they walk in like, well, we actually have some crocodile, we have some ostrich skin, sir, that are like 9,000. Like, ooh, ostrich skin? Give me those. See, and some people go in and actually get tempted by stupid shit like that just because they have the means to buy it now. It's like, all right. Run up the tab, like, hey, stupid stuff, bro.
We have lost objective Freddy.
I would definitely travel. I would definitely travel, for sure. Right, exactly. Right, and exactly. That's where it gets crazy, right? When you start doing unnecessary shit. But you know what? Let's. All right. Yeah, and that's exact. And then they.
Hier, erste Hilfe für dich.
You know what? My house would not be huge. It would be fairly big, only because there's so much I'd want to put in there. And like me, I would want my own like gaming room, and then I'd want a theater room, so that would take up space. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't want like 8 bedrooms. You know what I mean? Like that to me. Like, trust me, I could spend a good amount of money on my home just because of the stuff I want to put in for my own personal entertainment. Like I said, I would make the greatest video game room I could put together. But that's not going to break your bank, right? It's when you buy a second, third, and fourth house like that. That'd be sweet.
Oh, like the phase house?
Dude, that'd be dope. You'd have to be a billionaire for that. You'd have to be a billionaire to do that, yeah. That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, you need Bill Gates money to pull that off. God, what a... We just said we didn't want to play tonight. What the freaking crap, dude? Why are you making us play the map we don't want to play? I can already tell this is going to be a shitty server. We went... Right, we just said no! Yeah. Yeah, I don't trust DICE to fix anything. If it wasn't so many of us on, I'd go to a different server. But I think this one's cursed. You can just tell by the map rotation if it's going to be a shitty server. And it went from Suez, Sinai, Giant Shadow, Sinai, freaking Foul Fortress. Next it's going to be like Suez and who knows. But yeah, but it just never ceases to amaze me, like how many people go broke, and then you find out what they bought. Like there's some people who have genuinely gone broke because they trusted the wrong people to invest their money. Like I read did you read the Clinton Portis story? So he's broke. Now it's a combination of him living extravagantly because he did have like 5 houses and he did have a bunch of cars, but he also entrusted somebody with a lot of his money, and they were making investments without him knowing, and his shit just disappeared, just gone. Reject switch. See now that's different. That's different. Yeah, that's somebody that just has they have a problem, an addiction. He just got problems, right? Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. So so what would you guys buy, right? If you could, like, if you won the money, what would be the first thing? I don't mean like sitting aside, taking care of your family, your parents, whatever. Like, what's the one what is the one materialistic thing? No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Outside of like taking care of family, I'm saying like, you know what I mean? Just materialistic, not.
We have taken objective Freddy.
I've always wanted to do that too. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to do that, bro. For that reason, I think I would buy an RV too. I've always wanted to do that.
We have taken objective Edward.
Yeah, I think the first materialistic thing I would do is probably buy, probably put together the world's greatest gaming setup, the best surround sound, the best TV. I think that would probably be my first materialistic purchase. I want people to look at my shit and be like, whoa. Yeah. Like, you know how you see some of those images off the internet of people that have like every console from the beginning of time? I've seen some really sweet setups. The one that I like the most, this guy has like a white shelving kind of setup. That's probably been the favorite one I've seen so far, but I've seen some really nice like gaming setups. I see him. I'm waiting for him to give me something serious. I hit him twice. He's down about 30% now, I think. What about you, Rez? What do you think you'd spend your money, or what would you buy first? Rez, you ran right by him, Rez! How did you run right by him and not see him? You actually, you were looking at him as he was shooting at me. You still ran right by him. There it is, you just killed him. Ah, okay.
Good move.
Oh man, what a swindler! Yeah, you better be careful, Raze. You might not get laid for like a month, bro. Okay, so you convinced her. Okay. Okay, I thought you like did it sneaky so she wouldn't know until she got home. I was gonna say,
Sıhhi yardım çantası. Tedavi ol. Sıhhi yardım çantası. Al bunu. İstersen uyaralım.
to the right, guys. To your right. There you go. Yeah, I thought I was about to say Rez. Like Rez, you're not wrong.
Senin için sıhhi yardım çantası.
Some of those racing seats look pretty cool, though. What don't you like about the ones in that car?
Objective apples.
Oh yeah. Well, the Lexus I think it's the Lexus F250. It's kind of half luxury, half racing car. It's not really a racing car. They just try to give it a sporty look. But the racing seats in there with the leather, man, those things are nice. You should look that up, Rez, when you get that. Yes, those things look nice. Save your life, Manny. What? Oh, I got shot in the back. Yeah.
Losing objective butter.
Şu sıhhi yardım çantasını kullan.
Yes. Well, I tell you what. Yes, that happened. Not this most recent update, but the one from like a month or two ago.
Bir düşman hücum kıtası
Because I
askeri
started
var.
noticing I was getting more and more mine kills, and then I started noticing it was cavalry. So it didn't used to be that way, but they made that change. I don't know, maybe a month or two ago.
Aha, sana bir sıhhi yardım çantası.
Yep. I'm looking for him. That's one down. That's two down. Artillery truck. Got him.
Sana sıhhi
Get out of
yardım çantası.
I know what Marvel would buy with his money. He'd get like a diamond encrusted cowboy star right in the middle of his living room.
Oh, you know it. I get it engraved in my chest like Tony Stark.
He'd get a picture of Alvin Harper running across the 49ers 50-yard line in that 92
You
NFC
know what?
Championship
I
game.
wouldn't get the catch tattooed on my back. Would not get that.
Aha, sıhhi yardım
Big
çantası.
gay bay whiners, cuz.
Şu sıhhi yardım çantası.
I'm a Niners
The
fan.
Niners, man. I'm
Check.
just
Yeah.
messing with him.
We have lost
Greatest
objective
rivalry in the
Charlie.
history of sports, boys.
Nah, that's our other teams. That's our other two teams.
Yeah.
That is the greatest.
Nah,
rivalry.
man. I don't think so. I think the sport has to be more important for it to be. Now, it's a classic rivalry, no doubt, but with the way baseball has just like steadily died more and more over the years.
We are losing objective apples.
Oh, there's multiple ones. I think in the NBA, to me, there's a clear front runner. I mean, NBA's Lakers, Celtics, without question. Yeah, there's no question. I think in the NFL, I think you can make the argument for a couple. I think Cowboys, Steelers, Cowboys, 49ers.
We have taken objective Edward.
Like Packers, Bears. Like the Bears haven't done shit to me. That's not historic. You know what I mean? Like it has to be like great franchises that have won for it to truly be great in my mind. You know what I mean? And they're like Bears and Packers is classic. I'm like, to who? The Midwest? Nobody gives a shit about that rivalry. You know what I mean? It's the oldest one, but the Bears never accomplished shit for most of their existence.
Duke, North Carolina.
Right, that's college basketball's
Yeah.
#1 for sure, I think.
USC, Notre Dame.
USC Notre Dame is great. So college is
Yeah, Ohio
full
State,
of them.
Michigan. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of all the ones that Notre Dame has are usually all pretty good. Like USC Notre Dame, Michigan Notre Dame. They are Miami Notre Dame. Yeah, right. We grew up watching those. Right, they were classics. Yeah, in the NFL, I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. So I'm probably a little biased, but I really do think it's either Cowboys Steelers or Cowboys 49ers, just because of how much winning was involved in those, which is just crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's enemy cavalry.
I mean, you think about it. If the Cowboys split the Super Bowls with the Steelers in the 70s, then you're talking about 2 dynasties in the same decade, which has never happened, right? But the Cowboys won 2 Super Bowls, and the Steelers got 4 because they beat the Cowboys twice. So if they just split that, you'd have 2 dynasties in the same decade, which you've never seen before. But obviously, the Steelers are more recognized, and rightfully so, because they got 4-2. Right? They got 4-2.
The most Super
but it's just
Bowls.
amazing that people forget, because the Steelers won 4, that the Cowboys went to 5 in the 70s, which is nuts. They just lost 3.
We have lost objective.
And then the Cowboys and 49ers, I mean, they basically played each other to win Super Bowls so many times. Because like all the other classic NFL rivalries, most of them don't involve like Super Bowl. It's more like divisional hate than like championship rivalries. Like the Raiders and the Broncos is a really good Raiders and Chiefs,
Oh,
Broncos and Chiefs, but that's more divisional.
We have lost objective Duff.
But like, you look at the 49ers and Cowboys, you're talking about championships. Like, all right, boys, you know, whoever wins is we're gonna go get that chip, see?
Enemy tank spotted.
That's why, as much as I hate the 49ers, I respect them as an organization, a franchise.
We have taken
Yeah,
objective Charlie.
sure did. I mean, Yep. Yeah, he made it so easy. Even George Seifert got him one. Kind of like Barry Switzer getting one with Jimmy Johnson's team. I mean, it was a... Man, I'm telling you, oh man, that's the one out of all the games I wish I could have back. Is that 3-peat one. The stupid Niners won when they violated the NFL salary cap, and they got punished like 15 years later. Like, yeah, thanks NFL. Could have used that in '94. Oh, Chippy boy. Like, wait, are you telling? You know what? I could use the kid meme, the one that we were talking about, the little African kid meme, and be like, so you're telling me the 49ers signed 9,000 players and violated rules? You don't say. No shit. Like, you knew in '94 that they had violated salary cap shit, and then they get punished 15 years later for it.
Don't hate, congratulate.
Bro, they signed so many players.
We needed them. We needed them. If you
it.
not gonna tell me no, we go do it.
But I tell you what's funny. Even with all that,
We have taken objective Duff.
oh, bro, no, yeah, the Raiders and the Cowboys, the NFL cuts them no slack.
Oh, nobody's gonna kill
Like
him.
on rule violations,
I
eh?
don't give a-
Probably. Well, the funny thing is, a lot of the owners love Jerry Jones because of he brings more money to the league. Like, his business practices have changed the way the NFL does business, so he's great for them. But they also don't like, I think, the fact that he's like so much in the public eye and that so many people owe a lot of their success to him. Like, he's the reason that the Rams moved to LA. Jerry Jones is the guy that made that happen. And so every time the owners need a favor, they go to Jerry Jones because they know he's going to make it happen. That's a persuasive bastard. Like, him and Al Davis were like great friends. And I think that's part of it too. They're like, oh, you want to be friends with Al Davis, do you? We'll show you a trick or two. The funny thing about that marvel is that the Cowboys were still the better team in '94, and but when we went to San Francisco for that championship game, I was like, man, I don't have a good feeling about this, especially because Emmitt Smith was basically limping into that game with that almost torn hamstring.
Yeah.
And because I remember at one point in the season, the 49ers were like 4-3. Like, they were struggling that year. And then they had that win at Detroit, and they just went on that run where I don't think they lost another game the rest of the year.
Yeah, we... Oh, me shot from the back. Why not turn around? Behind you guys on B.
We are losing objective Butter.
Medic on top of
I just remember thinking at the time, I was like, 49ers winning on this shopping spree, and they're still not better than us, see?
An enemy armored train.
Unfortunately, it didn't end that way, though.
Yeah. And what do you guys agree with Tony Dungy said about Tom Brady? I actually kind of agree with him. He said he's the sixth best quarterback. He said you don't plan for him like you do Elway. Yeah. He said not based on wins, based on pure like the talent wise. He said,
bro, I don't.
Steve Young's a better runner. He said,
man, hell no. Listen,
I actually
bullshit.
I actually agree with him.
No.
We're not counting wins though. We're not counting wins. You look at his yard per average is like really low.
I don't care about any of that. Marvel, you know what that is? Exactly. Right. It's the most important position in all of sports.
I personally don't agree. I mean, I agree with what Tony Dungy said. I agree with what he said.
Listen, look, you can. It goes back to the old argument, right? Where you can go back and you can point at athletes. Like you can look at LeBron James, and is he a more gifted basketball player than Michael Jordan was? Yes, but is he better? Hell no. You know what I mean? And so that's what it comes down to this. Like, I don't care if he doesn't have John Elway's arm. I don't care if he has Peyton Manning's ability to run an offense without a
Peyton Manning was a better passer.
I don't care about none of that shit.
Peyton Manning and Dan Marino are better passers than Tom Brady. Steve Young's a better runner than Tom Brady.
But I still don't consider them better quarterbacks. I'm taking the whole package. Right? He's got the it. And that makes him on... Who would you rather have on any given Sunday? Tom Brady. And that is the argument.
That's not necessarily true because if a great defense is we're not see you're talking wins. I'm not talking wins. We're talking from a pure quarterback standpoint.
That's what it's all about. See, but that's the thing.
Tony Dungy said when you're scheming for quarterbacks, you don't. He said when you're scheming for quarterbacks. It's Tom Brady in the league right now. In the league right now, against now put it against a defense, a certain defense.
All time. But it doesn't matter. He's mastered everything. He's beaten every team, every defense.
His career yards per average is not good.
That dude's been to 7 Super Bowls.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
You do it too, Bo.
I don't
Bo, you do the same thing, Bo. You do the same thing. I'm not talking to you.
Listen, I hate Tom Brady, and I hate Tom Brady, and I hate the Patriots.
I don't think he's the greatest quarterback. I can't agree with him.
That's when you start using too many analytics.
I can't.
When you have to use that many analytics to break down why somebody isn't as good as this, no.
Don't get me wrong. He's the best winner, but he's not the best quarterback in the league, man. You can't.
Look. Here's the thing, though. For all of Steve Young's legs, right? For all of Steve Young's legs, and all of Brett Favre's cannon arm, and all of Peyton Manning's smarts, none of them have won half as much as he has. So I don't care about that because he's going to be the guy who's going to lead his team over and over and over and over. And when you look at what he's had to work with most of his career, he was taking Rashae Caldwell to the Super Bowl.
Oh, come on. Here we go. Look at the defenses, though, man. Come on. He's not one guy doing all that. That catch. Who caught that bad pass he threw in this year's Super Bowl?
But
who caught that bad pass? That wasn't him. He threw a bad pass and he got lucky.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous, bro.
I'm talking about in this year's last year's Super Bowl and last year's Super Bowl and last
one play.
But who caught the pass though? I'm just saying, who caught the pass?
The man has won 5.
It's a logical argument.
Isolate one play. You're gonna isolate one play from one Super Bowl when he's won 5. He's won 5. He's been a 7.
So okay. Now with the winning thing, Robert Horry has what? How many rings does Robert Horry? 5, 6?
No, come on.
Come on, you want to go there? You want to go there with winning? When I clearly said Tony Dungy said it wasn't about the wins. He said picking a quarterback.
No, listen, you know why Tony Dungy said that? Because he's kicked Tony Dungy's ass so many times.
No, he was saying if you had to. He was saying from picking a quarterback standpoint, not the winning. He said John Elway. He said Steve Young.
What the argument
We're not talking about wins. That's what I'm saying.
We're not talking about what the argument is, and I don't care because it's about the total package.
But that's a stat,
it's directly
though.
Correlated
that's a straight
to how good
stat,
the quarterback
though.
Is. Exactly.
We're not talking.
Listen.
Okay.
You can put together a bionic quarterback in the lab, right? You can make him a super cyborg. That doesn't mean he's gonna win like Tom Brady. That's why I don't care about this person's arm.
It takes a team to win, though. This isn't boxing.
I don't care about any of that. But that's the thing, though. Here's the thing that's most impressive about the Patriots to me, right? About Tom Brady is that I can't remember any instance where I thought legit outside of 2007 when they blew the 19-0 season. That is the only time in all of his seasons where I actually thought the Patriots had the best team in the league. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick makes up for everything else. That team has never been the most talented.
With that many players you needed to succeed,
the only time was 2007.
That is
what I'm trying to tell you. Name me one elite player that... Deion Branch.
He's not a bad receiver. He's not a garbage receiver. That's disrespectful to call him a garbage. He's not garbage.
Tom Brady made him.
We have taken objective, George.
Receivers make quarterbacks too. You have to have someone.
He played with one elite receiver his whole career. Was Randy Moss. That is it. Right, and he came to him, right.
And they didn't win. He had an elite receiver that year, and they didn't win.
That's my point, though. But that's what I'm saying is that his whole career, the Patriots
he's not the greatest, man.
Roster.
You just got to be like realistic. He's not the greatest quarterback in the league.
It's not even about.
No, he's not.
To me, look.
He's not.
To me personally.
I thought we weren't talking numbers. Now we're talking numbers.
No.
That's your whole argument is numbers. I'm telling you from a standpoint. I would take
the argument. I just think it's crap. Because to me, it doesn't matter what this quarterback, what his arm strength was, what that guy's smarts was, what this guy's athleticism was, because they had all those tools and they couldn't do what Tom Brady does, so it doesn't matter to me. Nobody's been able to do what he does. It doesn't matter what athletic gifts he may
I'm sorry.
be
I have to agree. I have to agree with Tony Dungy. That's my opinion.
Tony Dungy looks like a zombie.
So
he's probably been eating too many brains, which is why it clouded his judgment. There's that argument to sound. It sounds salty. It sounds salty for me because it's a coach who coached Peyton Manning and got his ass kicked so many times.
He wasn't saying anything about his winning though. He wasn't saying that he was a loser or he wasn't this. He just said he said when you
can't overlook that though. You can't overlook that. Exactly. You can't overlook that. That's part of what makes him great. You can't omit that from the argument because it's what makes him great.
Oh my God! But then you don't bring up the whole Robert Horry thing. Robert Horry's won championships, so now is he the greatest forward ever?
Robert Horry's not a great player. That's not a valid argument. Right.
But we're not talking about from
a great player.
We have lost objective apples.
Right. That's like saying from
a standpoint. Okay, hold up. Okay, in the NFL right now. Okay, just answer me this. In the NFL right now, nobody has a championship. Who do you pick with the #1 pick in the NFL, quarterback-wise? Who's your pick? Is it Aaron Rodgers or is it Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
Right now, the number one pick, the number one pick in the league.
And look, I'm not talking age. I don't want to.
We're not talking age. We're not talking age. We're not talking age.
Tom Brady because he wins and wins and wins and wins, and he does it. And
you need a team to win, though. That's what I'm saying. You need a team. Tom Brady has not had bad teams around him.
That's what I'm saying. He's very rarely.
Oh boy, his defense is better. His defense has been better than Aaron Rodgers' team.
What's up? Yes, I'm saying it goes to show that
I can agree with his opinion, though. I'm sorry, but I can agree with his opinion. That's his opinion. I believe. But break it down. Boat. Read exactly what he says. Read exactly what he says when referring to other quarterbacks.
Marvel, I know you don't have to explain it to me. I know what you're saying. I know what he's saying because I hear these arguments all the time when it comes to sports, where they try to in sports, right? Where they're like, well, let me give you an analytical, scientific breakdown of why this guy is actually better than the guy you think is better, but it doesn't hold weight because it's stupid. It's just stupid.
I kid you not. Just read what he says. I agree with what he says.
I will read it, but I already know what's going to happen because, like I said, this isn't like some unforeseen, never heard of argument. We hear these arguments in sports all the time. You hear it, so when people try to say, let me tell you why Kyrie Irving is actually better than LeBron James, you hear stupid arguments like that all the time, and they bring out all these analytics and these statistics and these scientific notations, but it doesn't hold weight because it doesn't make any sense.
I believe that's my opinion, and I believe what he says.
And you're entitled to that. You're entitled to that, but I'm not going to be convinced by it. I'm not going to be convinced by it because I think it's stupid. Because you hear those arguments all the time, and when you got to go that far to break it down, it just goes to show he's really not as good as what you think he is. It's silly. It's just silly to me. You hear them all the time, and like I said, the thing is, Marvel, you can't omit winning. That's like saying. That would be Marvel like saying
I'm not omitting winning. I'm not but I'm not omitting winning. I'm saying talent wise. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying this isn't boxing. This isn't boxing. This isn't basketball
that's the thing though. But
it is relevant. Right, boxing is 1 versus 1. We're not talking 1 versus 1. Yeah, there's an offense and there's a defense in football. It does matter. There's an offense and there's a defense in football. Tom Brady's not winning every single game he plays.
Though. But how can you sit there and talk about teams and then recognize that how many teams was he on that the rosters weren't even all that great? That's what makes the Patriots
come on. What roster? Just because
Dude,
come on.
How many true? Look, I want you to tell me this.
They went 19-0 and lost the Super Bowl. You telling me that team wasn't great?
So you
telling me that team wasn't great?
Let me make the argument.
Oh, bull.
Let me make the argument. Let me make my case. So you say you know football, right? And I'm going to trust you at your word. You think you do know your football. I can remember every roster from 2001 to last year that Tom Brady's been on. So I remember it clearly. I want you to tell me, of those 17 seasons, how many truly elite all-pro players has Tom Brady had on his team? Especially
Junior Seau was on that team. Remember Junior Seau?
Junior Seau was like 90 years old.
But you're saying all-pro. Why does it have to be? Hold up. Okay, let me look at records.
You're acting like that's 1998 Junior Seau. Oh,
he had Curtis Martin. You remember Curtis Martin was an all-pro running back? He had Curtis Martin. Randy Moss.
He didn't. He never played with Curtis. See, now I already know I don't need to continue with you. That's it. You told me all I need to know. He never played with Curtis Martin. Never. He wasn't even on the roster when Curtis Martin was there. Now I know we can end this argument. Because Curtis Martin was a New York Jet.
So they were just garbage teams, and one man carried them to. Come on,
I'm not saying they're garbage teams. I'm not saying they're garbage teams. I'm telling you that the New England Patriots rosters for most of the last 17 years were not great rosters. They really weren't. They were not elite rosters. Go look. The one year. Look. Do you know? You remember in 2007
nobody has a great
when they got Randy Moss and Wes Welker? Do you know why they did that? Because they fell just short.
Yeah, and they won the Super Bowls when they had great rosters.
With average
guys, it's not one person. That's what I keep trying to tell you guys. It's not one person. It's not one person.
Brady makes
I would take Aaron Rodgers
work.
over Tom Brady. I would take Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady. I would take Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady.
And you can do that. You're allowed to.
That's all I'm saying. That was the whole argument. I said I agreed with Tony Dungy said in his opinion.
Convince us that he's right.
I'm not trying to convince you because I started off the thing by saying, what do you guys think of Tony Dungy's comments? It's not. It's my. That's what I keep saying. How many times have I said opinion? How many times have I said my opinion? Okay, then stop trying to argue with my opinion. Don't try to change my mind of how I view Tom Brady. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback.
That's the whole point of the discussion.
I understand that, but you guys are not going to change my mind of how I feel about Tom Brady. I'm sorry. I would take Aaron Rodgers over him. I would take Steve Young over him. I'm sorry, but they had, like he said, they have they have different dimensions to their game. Like he said, man, they have different dimensions
so much,
to their game. That John Elway has a different dimension to his game than Tom Brady does. Peyton Manning was a better passer. Dan Marino is a better passer.
It's not like I don't get what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, and I know exactly what the argument is based on. I just don't agree because I feel like it's going too detailed to be like, this physically gifted, he can't do this, and this. And that, again, it's like saying LeBron James is a better player than Michael Jordan. Is he more physically gifted? Yes. Can he? I mean, we can go over all these things that I think most people would agree that makes LeBron the most gifted basketball player of all time. But that doesn't make him the best. And that's my point. Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James.
And I agree with you on that. But at the same time...
And that's the kind of argument that I think it is. That's what I see Tony Dungy doing, is saying that this is why Tom Brady is not as good. Like, no, it doesn't hold.
He's not saying that he's not as good. He's just saying that in his opinion, he's the sixth best. He has a list. His list does not have to mean this...
Okay, but here's the thing, though, Marvel. Even if you don't think he's the greatest ever, what you're entitled to, because me personally, I think John Elway is the best quarterback I ever saw. Okay, so I'm not saying that you have to say that Tom Brady's the best, but to me, you don't find it absolutely ridiculous to say that Tom Brady's the sixth best quarterback?
It's his list, though.
I can't take that serious.
It's his list, though. That's my. It's his opinion and it's his list. I can respect that. That's his list. I personally can respect that.
But I think it's a preposterous list. You know what that's like, Marvel? That's like telling me that I know the Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, but I actually think the Bills were the best team because they went to 4 Super Bowls.
It's not.
They didn't win any, but they're better. That's what that argument sounds like.
Well, that's his opinion. Well, that would be your opinion. If you thought that would be your opinion. That's his opinion.
Like, I think the Bills that never
I thought
won
we're talking
shit
about
are actually
opinions
better than the team,
now. It's his opinion. It's my opinion that Tom Brady isn't the greatest quarterback. I don't necessarily rank him 6th, but he's not the best greatest quarterback.
My thing isn't that he doesn't rank him first, because I've said that before. I personally think the best quarterback I ever saw play was John Elway. So it's not that you have to agree. And in fact, you wouldn't be the only person that thinks Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady. There are people who think that. That to me is not the issue. The issue is this preposterous notion that Tom Brady's the 6th best quarterback ever.
That's his opinion. It's not official. That's his opinion.
That's fine. It's a retarded opinion. It's a retarded opinion.
I said it from the beginning. Because you guys keep talking. Just let me get it out. Again, as I said from the beginning, what do you guys think of Tony Dungy's opinion? As I said from when we first started.
Retarded.
Yeah, okay, I understand that, and I agree with it. I never said he was 6th. I never said he was the 6th greatest quarterback. I said
you said you saw some logic in it, and I
did from his statement. Okay, just read the statement. Just read the statement of what he said. Just the. It does.
Right,
No, listen.
Because
you guys are so heated about him putting him 6. I'm saying listen to what Tony Dungy. You don't have to agree with what he says. Just listen to the statement. Just the statement of what he said. He says Elway and Young had a different dimension to their game. Peyton Manning and Dan Marino were better passers.
Here's the thing. I don't have to read it to know where the argument's going. Like, I get the gist of it already because, like I said, it's not like it's never been made before.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but this is this man's opinion. You can't say that this man. You cannot not validate this man's opinion. It's his opinion, and no offense, but he knows a shit ton more about football than
you're trying to tell
all
us
of
is
us.
that if we read it, but what you're trying to convince us
I'm making the how am I changing? I said opinion.
You're trying to convince us.
He does know more about you. He does know. How does that not matter? That's like going to a classroom. The teacher, you said no, you can't teach me because you know more than me. He knows more than you. I'm respecting the man's opinion.
That's an opinion. That's an opinion. He might know more X's and O's than I do. He might know more X's and O's, but I can look at a player and see what they're capable of doing just like he can. I got eyes. I've got eyes. Listen, not everybody, just because you're a part of the sport doesn't mean you know that you're smarter than everybody who's not in it. Because I've seen NFL players be like, you know who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? This team that went 2 and 14.
They always say that, though. They always say that. They always say, we hear that every year.
Right, so my point is that just because they've been a part of the sport doesn't mean they know it any better than we do. They were just athletically gifted enough to be part of it.
Right, come on, don't go to the extremes, though. This starts again with what I said from the beginning. And if you guys don't seem to be listening, it's kind of stupid that you guys can't seem to get this through your heads.
No,
as I said, his opinion. I said I respect his opinion.
I realized it, but the thing was, Marvel, you were trying to convince us that
I wasn't. I said
so it turned into another argument.
No.
You realize that. Because it wasn't about him not being the best or being the best. You moved the argument to, well,
I wasn't trying to convince him. I wasn't trying to convince you guys.
So then
I said I agree with his
point. So what would be the point in telling us to read the article unless you thought
it is
that
logical that he's not the greatest quarterback in the... Come on now. Okay, so Bill Russell's the greatest player ever, and Robert Ory's number 2.
Some people think that. Some people think that. Some people do think that.
I'm saying what I am saying once again is taking rings and championships aside. Who's a better player? Who's a better quarterback? Who's your top 6 quarterbacks?
Right, but what we're telling you in return is you can't omit wins because that's the whole point of why you play the sport. And to sit there and like omit somebody's ability to win as if it's not a trait.
But I'm not saying that he's not the. To me, he's not the greatest quarterback. But I'm not saying he's 6. I'm just saying I agree with what Tony Dungy said regarding other dimensions to other people's games.
But that's the thing. But right, and so what I'm saying about these dimensions though is that what you're not looking at, and what Tony Dungy is obviously omitting as well, is that winning is a dimension. There's a mental element and a composure about him that helps him to be that great, and you can't dismiss it as if it's not a trait the same way having a strong arm is a trait or being mobile is a trait. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
I'm looking at it from a pure talent standpoint. I'm not.
See, but that is talent.
In my opinion, once again, in my opinion, he's not the greatest quarterback. That's just me. But that's my opinion. That's other people's opinion as well.
But you're missing the point. I think you're missing the point, though, is that you're saying
I don't think I'm missing the point.
You are, because here's the part you're not understanding, is that you are saying that you agree with the logic behind Tony Dungy's argument is that
if you read his statement, listen to it. I'm not putting him 6 though. I'm not putting Tom Brady 6.
You, along with Tony Dungy, are acknowledging what you guys consider to be gifts and abilities of other quarterbacks, and you're saying that Tom Brady. Okay, but listen. You guys are, what you're basically saying is you agree with Tony Dungy's analysis that he lacks certain gifts and abilities that these other quarterbacks have. But what you're doing is you're omitting the fact that his composure, his mental aspect to the game, his ability to win, those are also gifts. That's what separates people from being.
Yeah, okay,
you know
and I get
and here's the thing: if LeBron James had Michael Jordan's mental fortitude, if he had that something that Michael Jordan has mentally to like will out wins, LeBron James would be the greatest basketball player of all time. And so my point, Marvel, is that you cannot omit that as a gift itself. It is a gift to possess those kind of mental strengths.
But I'm not saying that he. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that he doesn't have that. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, to me, in my opinion, he's not the #1 greatest. I didn't say that he was 6. I agree
and that's fine. Nobody
just let me get it out. Just let me
that.
finish it really quickly. I agree with what Tony Dungy said about him versus other quarterbacks. I didn't say he was 6. I didn't say he was 100. You guys are acting like I said. I said what I said.
But I understood you said that, though. I'm clear on that. You don't have to explain that. We are all clear. It's not about you not acknowledging him. It's the fact that here's what it comes down to, Marvel. This is what I think you have a misunderstanding of what we're thinking. It's not about where you have him in terms of where he's placed, whether you have him first, second, or ninth. That's not the issue. It's the fact that you're saying that you're basing this opinion on what Tony Dungy's
I'm not.
Is,
I personally have always thought that. I personally always thought he wasn't the greatest quarterback of all time.
I think it's a flawed argument, because I don't think that it's fair nor accurate to say this quarterback and this quarterback were able to do this, have this physical trait that he didn't have. This guy had this arm, this guy had this mobility, this guy did this, but then not recognize that Tom Brady's ability to win also falls into the category of having a skill, ability, or a gift. It's the same thing, but he is choosing to not recognize it as that.
Okay,
and that's the only thing
and
that I'm telling you.
And I get exactly what you're saying, but I'm not going to put Tom Brady as #1. I cannot personally.
And that's fine. But nobody had a problem with you not putting him #1. It's just the fact that it's BS to say this quarterback could throw the ball harder than Tom Brady, but then say, well, Tom Brady's ability to win, which he has a composure about him that allows him to make the best types of decisions in crunch time, that just allows him to will victory, the same way Michael Jordan had it. So yes, can LeBron James get up the floor faster? Yeah. Is he stronger? Is he bigger? Yes. But Michael Jordan, when you do the check marks on what his abilities are, you have to consider his ability to win and his mental fortitude as abilities as well. And it's like what Tony Dungy is doing is he'll recognize John Elway's arm strength over him or Steve Young's athletic ability, but he's not marking off Tom Brady's mental fortitude as an ability. And that's just not right.
And I see your argument. I see exactly what you're saying. I have no problem with that. But my opinion, guys, Tom Brady's not the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm sorry. I cannot put him up there. I cannot put him as #1.
But you can't say the reason I don't think he's #1
no, that's not
he didn't have this guy's arm strength.
I would just take other people's other quarterbacks. I would take other quarterbacks over him.
And
that's
so
just me.
What you were saying was, but
I would. Again, here we go. Okay. In that case, I'm taking Bill Russell and Robert Horry then, so I can win NBA championships all the year.
But Marvel, come on, Marvel, you can't be that naive. You're too smart of a guy to tell me that you see any resemblance between Robert Horry and Tom Brady. That is awful.
It's not the worst correlation because the only thing you guys can seem to fall back on is Super Bowls. I'm talking from a talent standpoint. That's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm talking about.
But that's what I'm telling you is his right.
So Trent Dilfer's a better quarterback than, say, Mike Vick because Trent Dilfer's got a ring.
Come on, you got to be smart enough to understand the exception there, like the difference. It's completely different. But that's what I'm saying is that you keep saying from a talent standpoint that Tony Dungy's argument is from a talent standpoint, but you're not.
It's a valid opinion, right? Is it not a valid opinion? That's all. That's all this.
No, because to me, his ability to win and the decisions he makes at the end of games, the way he constantly leads his team in crunch time, is a talent. That's my thing.
It is a valid argument to say that he's not the greatest quarterback in the league.
No, because
without that, you have no argument. That's stupid.
No, because he's picking. No, because he's picking and choosing what he wants to view as talent.
I get what you're saying. Trust me, I get exactly what you're saying.
It is a talent. It is a talent. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Is like if you say he has more talent, it's like okay, he might have more physical talent, but not more overall talent. Because the mental aspect of what he does is a talent, and those other guys didn't have that to the level that he did. That is the point that we're trying to make to you.
No. I get that. And once again, and I get that. It just.
He's trying to.
I'm sorry.
No. He's conveniently picking and choosing what he wants to consider talent and what he doesn't want to consider talent.
No, and I get that. I get that, but maybe he wasn't asked that. Maybe he was asked a question based on physical gifts, not mental gifts. Just based on.
I mean, listen. If you want to talk purely physical, yeah, he's not even in the top 10. But when Tony Dungy makes his list, it's not here are the most physically gifted quarterbacks. He's saying I would rather have these guys, and that's where it's like, dude, come on. That's the part that it doesn't make any sense. Because if he just made, it sounds petty. Because if all he did, Marvel, was say, let me make you the list of the most physically gifted. Right. But because right now, Marvel, if you want to make a list of who's more physically gifted, he's not even top 5 right now today. Like, I'm not arguing that. But what Tony Dungy is doing is he's not making a physically talented only list. He's making, hey, I would rather have all these guys, and then basing that argument on what he perceives to be physical gifts. And that to me is just nonsense, because it doesn't matter if he doesn't have those physical gifts. He has other gifts that makes him better than those guys, or at least the majority of them. That's the argument. You know what I mean?
And I get exactly what you're saying. But once again, my opinion is he's not the greatest. I agree with what Tony Dungy said.
But we're okay with that. We're okay with that. It's just I have a problem with him trying to say.
No, I said he's not 6. Yes, that's my list. He's not 6th on my list. I agree with what he says. No, listen. Let me break it down for you, because you seem to be really slow right now. Let me break it down for you. One more time, Rez.
Okay.
Rez, let me break it down for you one more time. I agree with what he says that Tony Dungy's
before you do it, because let me ask you this. I'm gonna let you talk, because here's the part. I think we're all confused by the same thing. So let me clear it up for you. You're saying that you agree with Tony Dungy that he's not the best.
Yes. I'm not saying he's 6. I'm not saying he's 6.
We understand that clearly.
Okay.
We understand that clearly. But the part that we're confused on is you're saying that you're basing your opinion on where you personally place Tom Brady, whether it's 2nd or whether it's 4th, wherever, that you're placing a large part of that opinion based on some of the very same arguments that
No. Well, some of the stuff he says makes sense. But in my opinion, like I said, Tom Brady's not the greatest quarterback of all time. He's not the GOAT.
The way we've interpreted it, and Rez, you can tell me if you agree with me, but the way that we've interpreted it is that you're saying that the reason why you don't consider him the best is because you are agreeing with Tony Dungy's logic. No.
Okay, I've agreed.
That's how I interpreted what you were saying.
I've said that before. Rez, because stuff I've said, Rez, me and Texas have had an argument. Rez, you come in here and then you say like these little like one-liners.
Reject switch.
Like these little one-liner things that.
But that's
like twisting the words that I say.
Marvel, but
we're having
confusion. So. That's the argument. I mean, that's the confusion, Marvel.
You say one-liners. I'm having a debate. And every time I say one thing, you twist it around. As I said from the beginning, which is my opinion. Because you say one thing and then you like that's it, and then you make a joke and you start laughing. But I'm trying to have a fucking adult conversation. Me and Texas are having a debate, but then you come with these one-liners and then you twist the shit that I'm saying around.
But but that's the confusion.
We're not arguing. That's the thing. That's the thing. We're not arguing. He has his opinions.
It's
I have my
discussion.
opinion. This is just a discussion.
But
it's not. But I don't even think it's an argument. I don't think it's that serious.
But here's the thing, Marvel. The way that you explained it, it comes across as if you're saying that I don't think Tom Brady's great, and the reason why is because in large part I agree with Tony Dungy's logic.
But that's not what I meant.
But that's how it comes across. So that's why we're on to like, hey, that's a silly logic to base your opinion on. That's what we were thinking, because we were under the impression the way you were saying it, maybe you weren't explaining it right, but it gave the impression that you were basically saying that, hey, you know, I agree that Tom Brady's not this, or this, and in large part it's because I agree with Tony Dungy's logic. That's how it came across. So what we were doing was saying like, well, we don't believe in that logic because we think it's flawed for this, and this reason. If that's what it was, we thought the way you were talking was you were saying, I don't think Tom Brady's as great as people do either, because I largely agree with Tony Dungy's logic.
No,
and so
yeah, okay, I understand. I understand that the wording got misinterpreted. I get that. But once again, as I said, in my opinion, he's not the greatest quarterback. And in my opinion, I agree with what he said. Now, I'm about talent-wise.
But look, that's the thing, though. But if you say you agree with what he said, then what that's saying is I'm agreeing with his argument and logic. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why you're confusing us. Because if you say you agree with Tony Dungy, then you're saying that you agree with his logic.
No, but
and
not
it's the logic that we all.
I don't have him
with,
6 though. I do not have him 6 though. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing: it's not even about where you place him. It's not even. I think you're missing the point from us too. It's not about where you're placing Tom Brady. It's the logic that's being used to determine why you're placing him where you are. That's the part we don't agree with. It's not about where you're placing him on the list. It's just the fact that we don't agree at all with Tony Dungy's logic for placing him 6. And when you say you agree with Tony Dungy, that tells us that you too are using the same logic to determine where you're placing him. And that is what we disagree with. Not that he isn't first on your list, or not that he's great, or even that he's third on your list. We're saying that Tony Dungy's logic is flawed, and so when you say I agree with Tony Dungy, that's telling us that you too believe in that logic.
No, I agree with what he said when he broke it down about Tom Brady, when he breaks it down about what other quarterbacks do you have to plan, you have to game plan or have a different dimension with their game, as like Elway, Young, Marino, Aaron Rodgers, they have a different dimension to their game. That's what I agree with.
See, yeah, I'm not. Well, see the thing, right. So for me, my thing is this. I think that I don't want to turn into a whole other argument, but that even to me sounds silly coming from Tony Dungy, because there was no dimension to Dan Marino's game. He was just a great passer. He wasn't an athlete.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything
and he
like
says that,
you know
but
I mean?
he says that though. He says he's not as good a passer as Peyton Manning or Dan Marino. He said he's not a good runner.
I agree with that. I agree with that too. But that doesn't mean that they're better quarterbacks as Tony Dungy would say that they are.
I understand that, and I definitely understand that. I definitely get what you're saying. But my like I said, my list, he's not number 1. He's not even number 6 in my list.
That's fine. We don't have a problem with that. It's not like we're trying to convince you he is the greatest quarterback of all time. Our argument the whole time has been like that argument that Tony Dungy is making for why he is like 6 on his list is flawed. You know what I mean? Because it's like these guys are all gifted,
one more to the left.
but Tom Brady is not gifted.
He's got automatic.
You know what I mean?
He's 16 health. Throw a grenade in there. He's dead.
That's where all of us are coming from. Is that Tony Dungy is basically trying to say in a nutshell, these guys were more gifted here, and here, and this is why I like them more. But he's not recognizing what Tom Brady could do as gifts. You know what I mean?
I get that, and I understand exactly what you're saying. And I like the Michael Jordan analogy. I get exactly what you're saying. I would always rate Jordan as the greatest player of all time.
Right.
I get that he had.
And I'm not trying to convince you that Tom Brady is the greatest ever, because like I said, if I could pick one quarterback ever to start from day one, I would pick John Elway. That's just me. But I don't agree with Tony Dungy trying to say that, oh, he's 6th best because this guy could run and this guy could throw like this and this guy could do this. Because it's like, okay, but you know what Peyton Manning couldn't do, for as much as he obviously loves him? He sucked in crunch time and time again. Peyton Manning failed in crunch time so many times. So he's omitting Tom Brady's mental aspect of the game. You know what I mean?
There's a bunch in that hallway, Texas and Rez.
Yeah, no, I saw a bunch. So that's
it's the one. That's one upstairs.
That's my problem with Tony Dungy's argument, Marvel, is that he's basically saying that Peyton Manning could do this, this, and this. Like, yeah, I know he could. Like, I know he was more physically gifted than Tom Brady. I can see that. His ability to command like an offense from an X's and O's standpoint was incredible. I've never seen any other quarterback have such an X's and O's command of the offense like Peyton Manning. But despite him having all of those gifts, he was not better than Tom Brady, because time and time again, Peyton Manning just choked in crunch time. He was so bad. You know what I mean? Like,
hey,
even the year they won the Super Bowl, he was bad in that Super Bowl.
I think he's not.
Right, he never played all that great in the playoffs. He really didn't. You know what I mean? And that's why, you know what I mean? Oh, they were terrible. That's what I'm saying. Like, he was bad in that Seattle Super Bowl. He was bad in the New Orleans Super Bowl. Every time they played the Patriots, Peyton Manning sucked. And so I think it's just kind of petty of Tony Dungy to be like, I think he's better than Peyton Manning or Tom Brady because of this, this, and this. Like, dude, what about how good Tom Brady was in all of his big games compared to the guy you're trying to put ahead of him? As if it doesn't matter. Like, it does matter. It absolutely matters that Tom Brady had that kind of composure that Peyton Manning did not. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
I get what you're saying, but that's going back to your opinion. It's this guy's list. It's this guy's opinion and his list. Let him have his opinion and his list. I get exactly what you're saying when you're fighting for Tom Brady in this situation. Well, talk.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Right.
Well, to him it does, and that goes back to being his opinion, how he feels.
It doesn't make sense to most of us, right? Based on what he's forming his opinion on an argument that we don't agree, like we can't understand. Like, it just seems senseless to us. You know what I mean? Because what he's basically saying, Marvel, is like, well, put it this way: Tim Duncan, that guy didn't have an ounce of athletic ability in his body, right? He did not. I think Tim Duncan is actually a perfect Tom Brady comparison by NBA standards, right? He did not have he couldn't jump out of the gym, right? He couldn't cross anybody over. He didn't have any like really great moves, right? He didn't have Olajuwon's moves or footwork. He didn't have Shaq's strength. He didn't have Dwight Howard's athleticism. But would you take Dwight Howard over Tim Duncan? No.
I would not.
You wouldn't. There's so many. Right. You wouldn't even think twice about that, right? So would you take Kevin Garnett over Tim Duncan? No. As great as Kevin Garnett was, and Kevin Garnett was more physically gifted in every aspect, but you would not take him over Tim Duncan, right? Because Tim Duncan just produced every single time. That guy for 20 years was a production machine. And you couldn't explain it, right? That's why Shaq used to make fun of him, right? But in a good way. He used to joke about he was big fundamentals, right? Because you looked at Tim Duncan and you couldn't understand what made him so good. But every night, there he was, just doing it over and over and over again. And that to me is Tom Brady, right? That's the point that I'm making. That to me is the best comparison I can make, is that you look at Tim Duncan, and yeah, he didn't have the strength, athleticism, or anything that so many other guys did, but you still would rank him. He's arguably top 3 power forward in the history of basketball.
Yeah. I mean, Tim Duncan's the greatest power forward in the history. Once again, my opinion.
Exactly, and I would agree with you. He's the best power forward I ever saw, and I think that's the perfect argument, and that's what I'm saying. Now imagine Tony Dungy coming and saying like, well, he didn't have Amari Stoudemire's leaping ability, so I'm going to take Amari Stoudemire here. And he didn't have like Karl Malone's toughness, so I'm going to put Karl Malone here. And you'd be like, what?
I get what you said.
No.
I
you know what I mean?
I get what you said.
And that's the part we don't agree with. It's silly to say that just because he lacked this physical gift or that physical gift, that somehow he was lesser of a player. And that's what Tony Dungy is trying to say, that these other guys possess physical attributes, so that makes Tom Brady lesser of a player, and that doesn't make sense to us. It would be just the same as saying the same thing for all these power forwards, that Amari Stoudemire, or maybe you remember, what was his name that was really good and athletic? Antonio McDyess. Remember Antonio McDyess?
Yeah, McDyess. Remember?
Fun guy to watch, but he's not half the player Tim Duncan was.
Nah, he wasn't even in Tim Duncan's league.
Right? Right. And so, but by Tony Dungy's logic, he'd be saying, well, you know, Antonio McDyess was athletic and he was strong and he gave, you know, guys fits, so he's a better player. It's like, no, he's not a better player. Yeah, he might have been stronger, he might have been faster. He wasn't no better player than Tim Duncan, and that is how we view Tony Dungy's argument about Tom Brady. Like, yeah, we get what you're saying. These guys are all physically gifted, but that doesn't make them a better player. And that is the problem that we have with Tony Dungy's logic on his list, is that he's placing that list based on 1 through 5 having more attributes that made him better. And it's like, yeah, they had more attributes, but that doesn't mean they were better players.
I get it, but to be fair, those guys are not Antonio McDyess. The guys he's putting ahead of him are not Antonio McDyess to Tim Duncan ratio quality.
Right. Okay. So then that's what I'm saying. So let's use some guys that were great, like a Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Kevin Garnett was not Tim Duncan. Karl Malone was great, but he wasn't Tim Duncan. And I can give you all physical attributes that those guys possess. I'll tell you what's a really good argument is, especially because I live in Texas, this happens all the time. People is like, who would you rather have, Akeem Olajuwon in his prime or Tim Duncan in his prime? And that's a tough one. And you have people that are like, he didn't have, you know, Olajuwon's ball handling skills, and he didn't have his footwork or his ridiculous dream shake. And I saw Olajuwon was great. I think Olajuwon's underrated. But then you got the Tim Duncan crowd that's like, no, he didn't, but Tim Duncan was greater longer. He won more championships. And he was the biggest reason why they won championships. And so it's a very similar argument. You know what I mean? And so, but my point is that ultimately, at the end of the day, that what a guy's ability to perform in crunch time and win should be recognized as an attribute, just the way somebody's speed is, or somebody's arm strength, or somebody's mobility. I think that matters. And when people make those arguments,
I get exactly what you're saying.
It's not good. You know what I mean?
Trust me, I get exactly what you're saying. Like I said, he's not number 6 on my list, though. That's the thing.
But
he's not number 6. I agree. I'm sorry.
Out of his list, the one that really puzzles me is Dan Marino. Like, that was like, dude, Dan Marino was an absolutely great passer. He absolutely was, no doubt about it. But he did not bring any dimensions outside of being a passer to a defense. So that's why I find it funny that Tony Dungy would make that argument, but then include Dan Marino. Because Dan Marino was a statue. Dan Marino was a statue.
No, it's he's across the building.
You know, Dan Marino didn't bring any extra elements that defenses had to account for. He was just an all-around amazing passer. But there was no extra dynamics he brought. So I just find it funny that he makes that argument, but then he includes Dan Marino in his list. Like, Dan Marino was a statue. He was a pocket guy through and through, just like Tom Brady.
Oh, that hurt.
Steve Young, okay, I see what he's saying. You know what I mean? And the Aaron Rodgers, there's people that would take Aaron Rodgers right now over Tom Brady. There are people that would, and I don't think that's a flawed argument. I personally would take Tom Brady, but I can totally understand. I can totally understand why because Aaron Rodgers has proven himself to be amazing in crunch time. I mean, my Cowboys saw it firsthand. Broke my heart last year. And he has a cannon arm that Tom Brady doesn't have. He has mobility that Tom Brady doesn't have. So, you know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? So I can totally see why somebody would take Aaron Rodgers. But me, I got to go with the guy that's been to 7 Super Bowls, because I know, me personally, in my opinion, I know this guy's going to get it done for me in crunch time, because he's just done it so many freaking times. Right. And did he have some luck? Sure. And trust me, and even that comeback, Marvel, I'll tell you first, Atlanta lost that more than New England won it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because all those idiots had to do was run the damn ball. That's all you had to do. Run the ball. Right, that's all you have to do is run the freaking ball. But Right. But you know, but having said that, you can't take away what Tom
There's a
Brady
bunch that
did
way, Rez.
contribute
Looking that way too.
as they started to mount a comeback. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I think absolutely Atlanta lost that more than New England won it. You know what I mean? For sure. But you can't, you know, you can't ignore that Tom Brady did play a part in that comeback. Somebody had to get them down the field.
I'm not taking away from. I'm not taking away from him like that. But like I said, he's not, in my opinion, he's not on my. He's not number one on my list as greatest quarterbacks. I just can't give it to him.
Who's yours? Joe Montana?
Mine's is Montana.
Yeah.
And honestly, I put Aaron Rodgers. I put Aaron Rodgers at number 2, to be honest with you.
Yeah, my list would be the best quarterbacks I ever saw. And you know what? The top 2 I have clear. After that, it's kind of hard. I would probably go John Elway, Tom Brady, Joe Montana in my top 3. After that, I don't really know. There's so many that are flawed. So many of them that are flawed. I think Elway to me is number 1. And again, this is all hypothetical. We can't prove it. But to me, I think if you look at what a master John Elway was in 2-minute drills and in the playoffs, he had so many comebacks in the playoffs. He just fell short in so many Super Bowls. You know what I mean? And to me, John Elway had that. That's why I believe that had he been surrounded with better teams, he would have won multiple Super Bowls.
We have taken objective.
Right? That's my opinion, just based on what he did in crunch time, because it wasn't like he ever held the team back.
Objective done.
Right. Peyton Manning, for his career, always had better guys to throw to than Tom Brady. I mean, he had 2 all-pro receivers, man.
Well, that's drafting, though. As far as drafting, they drafted that. They didn't sign with them. They drafted. You can't fault Peyton Manning for having Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison.
No, but the point is, I think it does speak to how great Tom Brady is that you could give him crap at receiver and he'd still function. That's what makes Tom Brady so good, man, is that if you look at his career, he rarely had all Pro Bowl receivers to play with, but that didn't stop him from like putting up amazing numbers every single year. That's the incredible part to Tom Brady to me. That's the part that I think I admire the most, is that outside of the Randy Moss years, and Wes Welker to a degree, he always had average guys or guys that when they left the Patriots proved that they were just average guys. That he was making them better than what they were.
Oh, shit, like
because
tank,
there's not a
heavy tank.
Randy Moss is the only. Yep. Randy Moss is the only receiver, the only one that Tom Brady ever played with that was a great player outside of New England. The only one. You know what I mean? But all the other guys, Deion Branch, Wes Welker. Rashae Caldwell was an absolute bum.
Yeah, I get the Caldwell thing. Like, I don't put Caldwell in the same bunch as Deion Branch was a solid receiver for years.
He was a solid a solid receiver in New England.
Yeah.
He couldn't replicate that anywhere else. That's
he was
why
older when he left, though. He wasn't like in his...
I tend to think that Tom Brady helped make him more than him actually being a great player himself. And I've seen it. There's guys that are just only good in certain systems. Right. Right. And you know what? And I'll give you another example. Marvel. And it speaks to how good Aaron Rodgers is, because Aaron Rodgers, to a large part, has done that too. Because yes, he has Jordy Nelson, but he's also been without Jordy Nelson for long stretches of time, and it doesn't stop Aaron Rodgers from being great, right? Aaron Rodgers is another guy like that can perform despite what's around him. So look at James Jones. James Jones has never been. Every time he leaves Green Bay, he sucks. He comes back to Green Bay, he looks like a functional receiver. Why do you think that is?
Three of them. Because you got me, Lap.
It's because of Aaron Rodgers making him do that. And so when I look at Deion Branch, that's what I see. I see a guy who Tom Brady made better than he was.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And so it's not Peyton Manning's fault, and I'm not blaming Peyton Manning, but you can't deny that Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne were better than 95% of what Tom Brady ever had himself. And that to me is a mark of his greatness.
Yeah, but you can't.
Reggie Wayne was a beast.
Yeah,
So
Reggie
was
Wayne.
Marvin Harrison.
He was underrated.
And don't forget how good Dallas Clark was at tight end for a long time. Dallas Clark was awesome as a tight end. Yep, yeah, he was. And to me, I think that, you know, the Patriots' way of doing business is funny because they don't really seem all that intent on like signing or making it, like they don't believe in getting like players. They really believe that our coaching and Tom Brady's going to make everything better. And so if they had actually put effort, Marvel, in my opinion, to actually trying to have one of the best rosters, not teams, best rosters, they'd have like 7-8 Super Bowls by now. It's just amazing how far the Patriots kept going. Like if you look at that 2007 roster, the year that that Peyton Manning won his Super Bowl with Indianapolis, look at that roster, man. Go back and look at it when you have a chance, and you're going to be like, how the hell did they come minutes from a Super Bowl with that roster? And that, remember, it was because of that. It was because they lost that game at the end that they were like, you know what, we're going after everybody. And then that's when they went after Randy Moss and Wes Welker, and they got what's his name from Baltimore. What's that guy's name? He was really good in Baltimore, but he didn't do so good for them. Adalius, Adalius Smith? Was that what his name? Adalius Thomas. Thomas.
Linebacker.
So he had been a Pro Bowler in Baltimore. So that's why they went on that spree that was very uncharacteristic of New England, because they were known as the team that people were like, see, that's what happens. We can't keep putting out these average rosters and think we're always going to beat everybody with coaching. So that's why that year they went out and spent money on all those players, because they had gone all those years with those average guys. And so, I mean, Brady has been amazing, man, to me. It's just when I look at what they've done. And even Belichick, that's why Belichick is the GOAT.
That sucks.
Because I'll put you this way. Do you think Julian Edelman would go to some other team and be a number one? Hell no.
No
way.
It depends. Honestly, it depends on the quarterback. And the quarterback's going to throw it to whoever the hottest receiver is. But I'm saying is, like, there are true elite players in the NFL, right? You know the true elite guys. We leaving or we staying?
I gotta go with my wife somewhere.
Okay. We find a new. You guys getting off?
I'll be back though. I just gotta go with my wife somewhere, but I'll be getting back on.
All right. I'll check with you guys tomorrow then. Oh, no worries, man. It's open for debate and argument. I just get frustrated when the words seem like they were getting twisted.
Yeah.
No, everything's open for debate. We can argue, we can do whatever. Yeah. Just, you know.
Man, Lamp, you missed a good argument, man, or a good discussion. You missed a good one.
Want to find a new server, Lamp, or you want to stay in here? Yeah.
Oh, I'm the same way.
Same here. Yeah, I understand.
Me, I don't get mad. I don't ever get mad.
Bullshit.
My wife tells me that about. My wife says it about me. She's like, I don't know how you are so good about like always leaving your emotions out of like discussions you have. I was like, I just don't. I always can. I just. That's why. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, over a sports argument. I've seen people get mad over a sports argument. Like, why are you getting so mad for it?
Me and one of my friends over Carmelo Anthony versus LeBron James, and he like completely just like said, "Fuck you, motherfucker," and got out the party.
See, I don't understand how I can get like. Why would you get so mad over something like that? Right, that's it. Yeah, right. Right. I think the whole reason why that kept going earlier wasn't the fact that we were disagreeing. It was the fact that we weren't understanding like where the argument was from. That's what it was.
We have taken objective Charlie.
Yeah.
We both had a completely different understanding of what the other person was interpreting it to be. But long story short, Lamp, we were just arguing about Tom Brady and where he stands. Because Tony Dungy apparently came out with this story or article, or whatever, that he says that Tom Brady on his list would be the 6th best quarterback of all time. And it was the logic behind it that most of us are like, that's ridiculous. It just kind of went from there.
And I agree with what he said, as far as the logic, as far as the gifts and stuff. But like Tom Brady is not the 6th on my list best quarterback. Yeah, I don't have him as number 1.
I think
but I am biased,
2,
you know, being a 49ers fan. So I do have I have Joe Montana, I have Steve Young, I have Colin Kaepernick, and I have Brian Hoyer. You know, throw some Blaine Gabbert in there. Then I got Tom Brady.
Don't forget Steve Bono.
Oh, cannot forget fuck Steve Bono.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta go with my wife somewhere. I'll be back on later.
Yeah, I understand. All right, Texas. I'll check with you tomorrow, man. If you're on in the morning.
All right, man.
All right. Yeah, he just basically just said the other quarterbacks you have to plan for. So he rated, I don't know the exact order, but he rated Marino, Elway, Young, Peyton Manning, and someone else over Tom Brady. He said because with Aaron Rodgers too. Sorry, he said with Peyton Manning and Marino had a better arm and were more accurate. Steve Young and John Elway had a different dimension to their game, so you had to plan differently. And Aaron Rodgers, he said, just overall was just better. Yeah, I mean, and that's what it was, and it just like kind of spiraled out of there to us going at each other. Well, not personal or anything, but just like having this huge debate. It definitely is. My argument was one man doesn't do it by himself, you know, because he doesn't play offense and defense. It's not boxing where it's 1 versus 1. You could say, okay, he won because he was a better fighter. You know, he knocked the guy out. But
we have taken objective Duff.
He's not. He's gonna get his ass whooped, man. You know, you know it. I know it. But it's gonna be a hell of a fight, though. A hell of a show, a spectacle. You don't think so? In a boxing match? I think if this was cage, yeah. I think he's gonna get tagged so much, it's gonna be ridiculous. I think if the fight goes past I think his shot, Conor McGregor's shot, is from 1 through 6. If it goes from 7 on, that's just feeding into what Mayweather wants to do. It's just like who's in better shape. You know, just.
We have lost objective George.
Yeah.
We have lost objective Butter.
No, I don't. I don't think he's gonna win. Everyone wants him. Even I want him to win. But logically, I mean, just being real, he's not gonna.
We have lost objective Duff.
Same here. I think same here. I think you'd be fool, to be honest, to pay $100 for that fight, unless he gets knocked out. If he gets knocked out, it's worth $100 to see Mayweather just get laid out, you know? Oh yeah, definitely. Go to a bar. Spend less money, go to a bar, get some drinks. They definitely do.
We have lost objective Freddy.
Pacquiao, yeah. waste.
Enemy medic there.
Oh, he definitely did. He definitely did.
We have lost objective Edward.
Oh, what time is it? I still got like 2 hours. Woke up way too early.
We have taken objective butter.
Taking the objective. You hold on to it.
Yeah, I'm usually at work right now, but schedules got changed. So I go in at 4 from 4 to midnight. But my body is on that old school, so I woke up really early.
We have taken objective Duff.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit some Skyrim up. Actually, no, my friend he's got Destiny 2. I'll probably play some Destiny 2 with him. Yeah. Let me close this app.